Hello and welcome back to Aman's Unfiltered. I'm your host, Amanpreet Kalra. Today we are going to spice things up a bit. I have two guests on my show who think and believe they have the answers for everything, and I literally mean everything. I'm here to ask the tough questions and keep it sharp with a quick fire round because let's face it, they can't seem to give me endless time. While each of these topics deserves its own deep dive, and trust me, they will become full episodes very soon. Now, I want my listeners to get a tantalizing taste of what's been intriguing me and what's keeping me up at night. Here's where you guys come in. If any of these topics spark something in you, or you know someone who's the perfect fit to dive into these issues, just reach out. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's get on with this rapid fire round questions. And no, this is not Coffee with Karan, and no, I do not have a hamper for the winner. So let's dive right into it. Welcome back, Harprem. And welcome, my dear husband, Nivit Kalra. Finally, after many episodes in, you're here. How are you guys feeling?
Excited, yet a bit nervous, but otherwise relaxing.
Okay.
So all three combination of useless feelings right now, but I'm more than happy to join.
We'll hear what you have to say after the end
Okay,
of my questions. We'll come back to that feeling.
I'm sensing a lot of husband-wife tension here. Do you guys want to do this podcast on your own?
No thanks.
I don't
No,
think
thank
you
you.
need me here.
No, thank you.
I think you've been part of this inner circle for a very long time. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be asking you both a few questions that I've prepared, and you guys have only 2.5 minutes to answer each question. Are you guys ready for this rapid fire round?
Of course.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to dive in
Okay.
right away.
How much time do we have to answer a question?
I just said 2.5 minutes.
No. How much time do we get to actually answer it? Like, how much time do we get to think about answering it?
There's no thinking. There's a reason why it's called rapid fire round.
Okay.
What does that mean to you?
Straight away?
Correct.
Off the cuff?
Great.
If it's
Okay.
more than 2.5 minutes, do we get a fine, a fee?
Okay, guys, I'm really sorry that I'm doing this to you guys, but trust me, this is going to be a good episode. Just bear with me. Okay, Harprem,
Right.
I'm going to go with you first. Once he's done, then you.
Sure.
Okay, Nivit? All right. Why am I calling him Nivit?
I
Okay.
told you, husband-wife tension.
All right.
Fine.
Harprem, first question. Is it okay to cut off toxic family members permanently? Go.
So you know the saying, blood is thicker than water?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the full saying is actually blood of the bond is thicker than water of the womb. Now,
Right.
That actually means completely different than what blood is thicker than water. Do I personally think you have to do it permanently? No. I think sometimes distance helps create space, makes you feel safer, makes you feel more comfortable, and sometimes could even make the heart grow fonder. Yeah, for me, I think space is important. Do I personally think about permanently doing it? No. I don't think permanent is the right word. But I think keeping a distance sometimes is necessary to maintain peace and keep a happier relationship amongst everybody.
Okay. What about you, Rajiv?
All right. I don't agree with the sentence because I still think family is family, but toxicity is time consuming.
Right.
So I think what Harprem said is correct, as in per time is of the essence here. So whether you need to cut out or not cut out is not the right word. It's about what amount of time is given in that space. So if you want to, you can move away for a shorter period of time or longer period of time, and that space will end up bringing back that family member and reducing that toxicity.
Okay, well, there you have it. My second question. Should partners prioritize their children over their partner in a marriage? Rajiv, let's start with you this time.
I always believe that actually in a partnership, you should always prioritize yourself first,
Okay.
then your partner, then your children. This way, you will not look back with animosity that
Right.
you have given your best time, best effort to someone else. You give it to yourself first, then you give it to your partner, then you give it to your children. That way, you will keep yourself happy first, then you will keep your partner happy, and then you will keep your children happy. I think this way is a healthy way to keep yourself satisfied in the long run, keep a healthy marriage, keep a healthy family.
Do you think you do that with yourself?
I drift in and out from time to
That's a
time.
trick question. That
No,
she's baiting you.
I completely agree, and I drift in and out between prioritizing between the top three. But in the long term, I believe, and actually, I might have even said this in my practice, that if can, always prioritize yourself first. It's the hardest to prioritize yourself first without feeling selfish.
Okay. Harprem.
Look, nature does it the best, right? And he's a doctor. Who am I to argue against him? Like, honestly, like, he's absolutely right. When you get on an airline, they say put your mask on yourself, and then your children, and then your spouse. You know, in that
Right.
order. And nature, you feed yourself first before you feed your children, before you feed your spouse.
Okay.
Right. It is that way for a reason. If you or yourself are not happy, you don't know how to swim. You can't save another person from drowning. It's as simple as that. So if you're not happy, forget about trying to make your kids happy or your spouse happy. It's not going to happen because you are not happy. They will sense that unhappiness. You need to
Okay.
be happy first, and then you can make your spouse happy. And your spouse needs to be happy before she can make you happy as well. And both of you work together. And if you're both happy, your kids are going to be happy. Honestly, like, yeah, it's, for me, exact same order. Yourself, spouse, then children.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
Great, first agreement. Nice.
I know. Okay. Well, that was just a fist bump going on right there. All right. My next question. Well, let's start with you, Harprem. Okay. Should cheating in a relationship or a marriage ever be forgiven?
Ah, that's a tough one.
Ouch.
I would say some cultures are very forgiving of this cheating behavior. In fact, some cultures is almost like a norm, you know. And what constitutes cheating now?
Your wife is
my
not going to be
God.
happy in hearing that.
I'm not saying I do it, but I'm saying, look, it's a very cultural thing, and I'll put it be very specific
Okay.
about this way, right? I don't know who listens to her
Fair
podcast.
enough.
The world could be listening to this.
Fair enough.
You know, for a Japanese guy to go to a strip club or to get a happy ending massage after work might be completely normal for him. That's not considered cheating. For me, that's considered cheating. I would never do
Okay.
something like that, right? So, what is cheating? Let me ask you first. Then,
There's
what do you
so much
consider
emotions
cheating?
in his voice right now. It's so. Why are you so defensive? I'm
No.
just asking a question. Okay,
All right.
let's go with you, Rajiv.
Okay. So I think there are two forms of cheating in my point of view. There would
Okay.
be emotional cheating and physical cheating, right? So I would say that emotional cheating is something far worse than physical cheating. So I don't think emotional cheating should be tolerated in any.
Elaborate emotional cheating.
So let's say in this example, is easier to say that husband of a marriage goes out of his marriage to have a second family or a third family, right? So when they let's say support as a family, that means that there's love involvement, right? That there's
Right.
emotional attachment involvement. That I would consider true cheating in a marriage. If the first wife is not understanding or accepting of it. There are cultures that is acceptable, correct?
Okay.
But in a culture that's not acceptable, this I would consider this as emotional cheating. While
Okay.
physical cheating is basically purely sexual. In some cultures, there's more tolerance to it, like what Haprem said earlier, and might
Mhm.
not be considered cheating at all. But from my own personal experience, I think in our community, either or is considered in a negative format. And I believe that in current day and time, we've moved past that pure short term happiness or pure short term satisfaction. So I think if this is the scenario, I don't think any cheating is acceptable.
Okay.
Man,
Good
you
answer.
said that a lot more articulately than I did.
I prepared this speech a long time ago.
Okay.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
next question,
Hmm.
right away. Is it ever okay to lie to someone to protect them?
Oh, hell yes.
Yes, completely.
Completely.
Okay.
Who
Both of
goes
you.
first?
Yeah. Harprem,
Okay.
give me an example. I want a situational example. Tell
Huh.
me.
Honey, do I look fat in this?
Mm.
Yes. No. Come on, like that's like so normal. Like to your children when they're asking you, like, what are you doing? Nothing. There's so many instances where you have to lie. The cops
Okay.
ask you, did you do this before? No.
No. Okay.
To protect yourself, to protect your family, and sometimes those are white lies. A lie is a very big category of a word.
Mhm.
You can constitute the word lie in multiple things, in multiple situations. Are you lying because what? You're saying you're lying to protect someone. For me, that's a noble cause. I would say yes, go for it. 100% do it, but just remember the lie as well, because that's the thing about lies. When you lie once, you're gonna have to lie other times to cover that lie up. So if you don't remember your lie, you're screwed.
You're screwed. Pretty much. You, Rajiv?
Okay, so in the field that I work in, lying is prohibited,
Right.
right? Because patients have the right to know.
Correct.
So I think lying becomes situational. What you are addressing about is that if you put a blanket term to it, then yes, I would say that lying for the sake of the person who's being lied to is a noble cause, but it will have its own ramification at the end of the day. So try to abstain from it as much as possible unless the benefit really, really outweighs the risk. Because most of the time, yes, like what Harprem said, the lie gets back to you and usually gets back to you hard. So in my practice, I always am upfront 100% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a professional sort of thing.
So like I said, that it comes to the situation.
I was just about to ask, like, I don't want a professional input. I want something personal.
Correct.
No,
So,
but-
on a personal
like-
level, have you ever lied to your wife?
Of course.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how dare you? What do you mean? In what
Well,
sense?
Well, this choice
Harprem, stop staring.
this choice of dinner place is great, honey. I
Okay.
enjoyed it so much.
I would love to watch that Indian series with you.
Yes.
Well, he still owes me a show.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
another episode later.
All right.
Mm.
My fifth question.
Okay.
And Rajiv, this time you go first,
Okay.
okay? Is cosmetic surgery empowering or a sign of insecurity?
Okay. Depends on if it's a corrective surgery, then it's empowering more than insecurity. But if it's a constant thing, meaning that it's something that you continue doing further and further until it reaches a point where there's no return, then yes, that's a sign of insecurity. I am a true believer, like empower to all the men and women who do it. Go for it. If you see something that you need fix it. I'm not telling anyone to stop that, but there's a gap between the two choices that you gave me, and that
Right.
gap fills in really quickly with frequency.
Mm.
The higher the frequency that goes up, usually reaches to that insecurity level.
What are your thoughts,
Look,
Harprem?
if someone is feeling insecure because of the way they look and they fix it, then chances are they're probably still going to feel insecure because of something else. That's an internal flaw, not something external can fix, to be honest. I'm not saying don't
Right.
do it. And, some people look much better after they've done it. But guess what? Out externally to other people, they might look better, but they will still not see themselves as better. They'll still keep seeing the flaws. They'll still keep seeing like, oh, I still need that to be changed, or I still need a nice handbag to go with my new face. Still need new dresses. I need a nice car. Those insecurities never stop. Like
Right.
there
Yeah.
is something deep that they need to fix first before they can fix the external part. And most of the time, your external behavior is a result of your internal feelings.
Okay.
It's like earlier questions, right? Work on yourself. Be happy first. And then if you're already happy in that state and you say, you know what, I want bigger biceps and I want to go do a plastic surgery to do it, go for it, my man. Enjoy.
Didn't you get a new bike? So did you get any plastic surgery before?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
I'm going to re-emphasize never.
Fair enough. Natural good looks.
Thank you.
All right. Next question, guys. You guys are doing good so far. Some very PC answers, but can we be a bit more open? Like, seriously?
I am so far.
Okay. Let's go on.
Okay.
Are unpaid internships exploitations or an opportunity? Harprem, I can already see his face.
I've got 4 unpaid interns in my office right now.
Oh, yay! Let's hear about this. Harprem, let's start with you then.
Unequivocally, no. It is
Okay.
not labor. It's not
Defending
free
himself.
labor.
Okay, let's hear
I have
it.
to spend a lot of time with them, teaching them how to understand and do everything. I have to spend the time that I have to spend with them teaching them stuff before they can actually get stuff done. It's what they're getting paid. They're getting paid an experience. And most of the time, these guys are just there for the experience. I've had interns for all the companies that I've ever set up.
Okay.
And they don't stay for long. That's their job. They stay for a short period of time. They're there to learn experience. And let's face it, right? These guys, they're children. They don't understand what they want to do in the future. They don't know what the ins and outs of the businesses are. They want to learn. So it's a free learning experience. We're spending time with them. That's a lot of cost on us. I have to dedicate my lunchtime. I have to dedicate after lunch, sitting with them, explaining them things, showing them how to use basic tools and functions that they've never done before. I'm not paying them on top of that.
Okay, give me their contacts. I'm going to send them this episode. Thank you.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Rajiv.
I kind of disagree with that a bit.
Ooh, interesting.
I feel that if there's labor put into it, despite the fact that it's being taught or not, but if there's labor being put into it, there should be some form of compensation.
Right.
However, in Harprem's defense, I understand the point that he values that his information given, his experience given, is more valuable than financial. However, I still feel that no matter what, there should be a certain enumeration. There should be a certain amount of financial reciprocation.
Right.
Yeah, I think unpaid 100% is not completely okay in my books. But maybe minimum wage plus experience, maybe, might be a good idea.
I'm happy to send the bill for my interns to him.
Right.
I'm still not paying them.
Okay, so let me say this, right? Because I was an intern as well when I'm doing my internship, as in for after I graduated my med school.
Okay.
And I was paid for it. Of course, it's actually lower than minimum wage, but I
that's
was paid.
because of your profession.
Well, that's just because they use the same rules and regulations that were used 35 years ago. I was paid exactly the same amount as the intern 35 years before me.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyways, I still got a couple of cups of tea out of it, maybe.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. You have anything you want to add on, Harprem? Because your face
No,
is
I'm
full of
still not
subtitles right now.
convinced.
Like so much subtitles.
Look, I think duration also matters.
Right.
And the type of work that they're doing also matters. The responsibility that they have. If I'm giving him or them crucial responsibility in terms of internship, then yeah, I might consider paying them. Or if they're working for me for a very long time, then I wouldn't even call them interns anymore. I'll just call them like staff or like part-time or something like that. Then I
Okay.
would definitely pay. But for me, internships are very short. They're like 1-2 months. They're literally there just to learn from you, to learn about the business, to see whether they're gonna like that specific industry or not. Now, again, I'm coming from like the world outside of medical.
I
Like,
understand.
for you guys, like you're literally like, I'm gonna have to work in a hospital. So whatever I do is in a hospital. But
Yeah.
in terms of like every other industry, a fresh graduate might want to work in food industry, might want to work in fashion, might want to work in therapy, trading, manufacturing. They're gonna want to try a whole bunch of different things, and they cannot be expected to be paid everywhere they go. Try and learn. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, I feel like just on this topic alone, it can go on. So I'm
All
going to
right.
move on to my next
Sure.
question right away. Okay. Is feminism overstepping its boundaries today? Harprem, I can already see your face. Every time you make a face, I'm going to start with you first.
Damn.
What do you have to say about woke culture?
Conspiracy theories say that this entire thing was designed so that women could join the labor force so that they could be taxed, so that more people could be working and less people could be creating families or, essentially building that, how do you put it, family environment at
So
home. Okay?
diplomatic.
No, that's what conspiracy theories say, okay?
Okay.
What I think is there are a lot of things that women can do that men cannot do. There are a lot of things that men can do that women cannot do. Both sides have their roles and responsibilities. To say that it has to be equal on everything makes no sense. I don't ever see a guy going to a woman and saying, why are you getting paid more in fashion industry? Why are you getting paid more in OnlyFans? Why are you getting paid more, as a nurse than I would as a guy, like, things like that. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't think it also makes sense to a woman to go to a guy who is, for example, in wrestling or in, or football or something, and say, hey, why are you getting paid more than I am? Like, the industries are different. The ways they're designed are different. The audience that each industry or each occupation attracts is also different. The revenues earned from each of them are also different, right? A very simple example is the basketball teams. Okay, so you got the NBA and they got the WNBA, right?
Right.
Now, NBA brings in billions and billions of dollars in revenue. People all over the world watch the NBA. They sell merchandise everywhere. All the star athletes get paid an insane amount of money to do what they do. You got the WNBA. They don't bring in as much.
Okay.
People don't buy jerseys. People don't buy the shoes. Nike doesn't, they might sponsor, but they're not creating a new line of shoes just for women basketball players for a reason, because there's just not enough women basketball players to justify the capitalistic nature of the world that we live in.
Okay, we get it.
It just, for a WNBA player to say, why am I not earning as much as an NBA player? That for me doesn't make sense. And for me, I feel like a lot of feminism have gone in that direction, and I don't agree with that.
Right.
I think given equal rights, equal opportunities is a way to go. But to demand for equality in different things like this makes no sense. You have the equal opportunity. I'm not saying all NBA players make more than every WNBA player. Just like Serena Williams makes more than majority of the male tennis players.
Okay. So I think feminism, that if I want to take a different take on feminism, is that equal rights should remain equal rights, meaning that men and women should have equal rights into their health, their body. Their right to opportunities should be the same. Outcome should be merit-based, right? So I think that demanding the outcome is absurd. But demanding the input to have the same opportunity, I think that's true feminism, right? So I support feminism, but I think it should be top line feminism, not bottom line feminism. I don't think it's the same. So I agree with what Harprem said, that there's an audience to it. That means that you can't demand equal pay if the input is not the same. But you have full right to demand for equal pay if input and output is the same. That's it. I think that's simple mathematics that women should fight for. I just think that what is being fought for right now is too overblown.
Okay.
You're a feminist. What do you think?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, not surprisingly, I agree with you guys.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Oh, you might alienate some of your listeners.
Okay, too bad.
Hey, we got something right.
Okay, cool.
I have my own opinions, but again, this is not about me. It's about you guys answering my questions.
Fair enough.
Okay. Moving on. Is self-care becoming an excuse for laziness? Rajiv, let's start with you on this.
Okay. Self-care is not an excuse for laziness.
Right.
But it can easily be abused. And it can be easily misconstrued as laziness. And this is a fault on both parties, meaning the person taking the time for self-care, the person on the outside looking in.
Okay.
So my point of view would be that self-care is important, and there should be a gap that both employer or employee have the right to utilize it or have the right to view it.
Okay.
But I think there is limited space and time. See, I can't be traumatized from a service industry, such as if I am a server and then I got a bad review one day and then I want to take 210 days off for my mental health.
Right.
That doesn't justify the answer. But if I want to take a day off that I've had a really rough day and my boss allows it, then I think it's fair that both parties have sort of set a gap that is agreeable on both sides. But I
Okay.
agree that self care is important and it should not be misconstrued, but it could be abused.
All right. Harprem?
Look, I mean, from a working environment perspective, if the boss allows it, then go enjoy, do whatever
Mm.
you want. But realistically speaking, right,
Mm.
the word lazy is coming from someone who's judging you for doing what you will need to do or what you feel you need to do to feel better. Who gives
Right.
a shit? If
Mm.
you're already doing it to make yourself feel better, that's your, going back to what we were saying earlier, making yourself happy, taking care of yourself is great. Now, if you want to prioritize that over maintaining a job, because let's face it, if you're in a working environment, if your boss needs you there and you're saying, no, I'm going to prioritize my self care, then that's fine. Then he can prioritize his self care by not paying you because he needs to pay someone else to do that job.
Right.
So but you should be okay with that as well because
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
to understand his perspective if he's understanding your perspective, right? On the flip side, if a judgment is coming from a family member or something else like that, where they're like, "Oh, why are you going to take a holiday, or why are you taking a break from whatever you're doing, for self care?" That's a whole different story. That's no pay, no job, no requirement. That's just an understanding that needs to happen. You need to
Right.
have that understanding that both parties sometimes need just some time to do their own thing. And whether you do that, sometimes you do that together. Like, I'll tell you what, for me, some activities that I love doing with Sneha, diving. We're together, but we're quiet underwater for an hour. We're still next to each other. We're experiencing the same
Right.
thing together, but there's no verbal communication. It's pure peace, tranquil, and you're just focusing on your breathing for like an hour. It's meditative, but you're together the entire time. So that's already self care for me. You don't have to always do self care alone either. You can do things to make yourself happy with your partner as well. I think that's where some people always try to, yeah, it's a miss. I'm not saying it's not great to do things alone, but I'm saying you can find things to do together as well,
You-
especially if time is a restraint.
You're
Right
hearing
now,
this,
the
right,
couples
Raji?
they're looking at each other really, really.
You're hearing this, right?
Oh, if I have an activity that I can do with you that we can be silent together for like 2 hours, then great.
Get a bigger scuba tank.
Do I need to say more, Harprem?
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Okay. That was fun, and that wraps up part 1 of this rapid fire session. I hope you've enjoyed this whirlwind of tough questions, quirky answers, and a sneak peek into the topics that truly intrigue me. There's so much more to unpack with these two crazy people that I have just interviewed, and trust me, these conversations are just getting started. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper and keep the momentum going. That I can guarantee. In the meantime, if you feel you're the right candidate to tackle any of these questions, or if you know someone who is, just don't hesitate to reach out. Let's keep challenging perspectives, sparking debates, and exploring the conversations that do really matter the most. See you in the next episode with these two quirky duo. We will be back. This is Amanpreet Kalra, your host on Aman's Unfiltered.